Hello, everyone. It's really great to see all of you. I want to welcome everyone to our special edition class today. It's nice to have so many people here with us today. There are many of you joining us today that have not participated in a class with us yet this semester. So if that is the case, welcome. Before we get started, I'm going to give a few kind of opening remarks, and then we will get started. So hello, everyone. Welcome to Mittler Senior Technology. My name is Jordan Mittler. We are very excited to have you join us today for this special event. Many of you joining today are currently enrolled in our spring 2021 semester, and you're almost done. You're 90% of the way through. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this program, let me begin by just briefly explaining what exactly we do. So I founded Mittler Senior Technology about 5 years ago as a free tutorial service for senior citizens to learn how to use simple technology. Through my experiences with my grandparents, I learned about the technological struggles that seniors face in the 21st century. Since then, our program has expanded to weekly classes, a new professional user-friendly portal with recordings of our most popular classes, and worldwide features on popular television networks and news platforms such as CNN, Teen Vogue, CBS, and Katie Couric's daily newsletter. Overall, we have educated over 2,000 seniors, and that number is continuing to grow. Our mission is to empower seniors with tech confidence that keeps them connected. And in doing so, we strive to cure the issue of social isolation within senior communities. A few weeks ago, I learned about Fast-Foward. I learned about this through social media, through Instagram. This seemed like an interesting film that I would be interested in, so I decided to check it out. I watched it with my family on a Sunday night, and I could say I was speechless after watching the film. Trust me, you are all in for an absolute treat today. What you are about to experience is unlike anything you have ever seen before. Fast-Foward follows 4 millennials and their parents as they travel through time to meet their future selves. Wearing an MIT-produced aging empathy suit and working with professional makeup artists, they grapple with the realizations, conversations, and mindset required to age successfully. Ultimately, the families learn they have more control over how they age than they thought. After the film, we will have the absolute pleasure to participate in a panel discussion with Michael Eric Hurtig, the director of the film, and Taylor Patskanic, an MIT Associate. If you think of any questions that you would like answered, that you would like our panelists to address, please put them into the chat, either during or after the film. I obviously cannot get to everyone. We don't have unlimited time, but if I do see questions that stand out and I think will be relevant, I'll be more than happy to address them to the panelists, and they will answer them after the movie. So once again, any questions, you can click on the little chat button at the bottom of the screen, and you'll be able to send me messages, and I will write those down and make sure the panelists get them. Okay, so we're now going to get started. Take out your popcorn, sit back, and enjoy Fast-Foward. But wait, there is more. We have the absolute pleasure today of having Michael Eric Hurtig, who's the director and producer of Fast-Foward, and Taylor Patskanic, who's the co-coordinator of the MIT AgeLab 85+ Lifestyle Leaders Panel and also the Agnes program. They're both here today to join us for a live panel discussion regarding the production and the effect of the film. We are very happy and excited to have both of them join us today. Before we begin, once again, if anyone has any questions based on the movie, the film that they would like our panelists to address, please put them into the chat and send them to myself. I'll be constantly checking that chat, seeing if there's anything I would like the panelists to address. If you do have any questions, just click on the chat button. It's at the bottom of the screen, and I will make sure that they're addressed. So please do that if you do have any questions about the film. We will start by letting you both, Eric and Taylor, introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your involvement in Fast-Foward.
Thank you, Jordan, and hello, everyone. Thank you all for taking some time to watch our film today. It's nice to have such a big group share in the experience, and in a time when we have so few shared experiences right now. I'm Michael Eric Hurtig, director and producer of Fast-Foward. We produced this film over the past 4 years and broadcast it nationally on PBS last month. And right now we're working to spread word far and wide about the film and engage people from all generations across all these topics. So I hope that you all enjoyed it, and I look forward to hearing your questions and thoughts on it.
Thank you so much, Eric. It's great to have you here. And Taylor, why don't you do the same?
Yeah, so thanks so much for having us today, Jordan, and everyone from your team. Hi, folks, I'm Taylor. I'm the representative from the MIT AgeLab with you here this afternoon. And as Jordan alluded to, I work with the Agnes tool with my colleague, Samantha Brady at the AgeLab. So I'm here to talk a little bit about, I think, some of our use of the tool and development of the tool, and what a pleasure it's been to share Agnes with you all today by way of this documentary, and also with Michael Eric and his crew in order to produce the film. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Taylor. All right, I'm going to pass it over to Julia to address the first question.
Hello, everyone. My name is Julia Fight, and I've been volunteering with Mittler Senior Technology since January 2020. I'm a high school junior at the Ramaz Upper School in Manhattan, and I've loved volunteering for the seniors for the past year and a half. Eric and Taylor, thank you for joining us today. So this question's for Eric. This is clearly a unique film. You created what you call an immersive experience for these documentary subjects. Can you talk about why you chose this format for the film?
Thanks, Julia. I, again, just want to preface my answer by saying I'm interested to hear the thoughts from the audience. We've played the film and heard from all different audience members, and to have a group like this today, I think everybody can bring a different perspective. I myself have the perspective of a 38-year-old filmmaker. I often thought and think about myself and where I'll be in 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30 years, and wonder. There are so many unknowns in life. But as we thought about this film and we started to research how people think about their futures and where they're headed and where their families are headed, we saw that there was a lot of fear there. There was a taboo in thinking about where they'll be, where their parents will be, or their parents themselves thinking about where they'll be in 20, 30 years. And it seemed to be a fear of the unknown. And so what we sought to do by creating all of these immersive experiences was make it known to people, but not just put them in MIT's Agnes aging suit, the AgeLab's Agnes aging suit, and give them a sense of what some of the physical changes might be, but give them these 360-degree experiences so they could really fully evaluate and digest, and also across generations, parents and children, to really truly be able to think about it in depth and take away some of that inhibition that comes from this fear of sort of not really knowing what to expect.
Thank you, Eric. I'm going to pass it over to Caroline to address question number 2.
Okay, hi everyone. So my name is Caroline Schwartz, and I've been volunteering with Mittler Senior Technology since January 2020 as well. And I'm a high school student at Ramaz Upper School. I'm a junior, and it's located in Manhattan. And I've enjoyed like all of these meetings with all the seniors and teaching. It's really been a great experience. And Taylor and Eric, thank you for joining us today. And so my question is, how did the idea to create Agnes come about? And why did the MIT AgeLab see a need to produce this device? And has its progress achieved MIT's original goals?
Great. Yeah, thank you, Caroline, for the question. So the idea for Agnes kind of came about in the way that all good ideas start, right? With a piece of pizza around a conference table in a university, right? So I was not there for the original founding of Agnes. It's a little bit before my time at the lab, but we had been working with an OT, an occupational therapist, as well as a medical doctor, both folks that I think are still actually at MIT Medical these days. And it was just a brainstorm spark. What if we could create a tool or an experience where we could teach students, where we could work with our sponsors, where we could do research, that could simulate some of what it could feel like to have more of the common or unmanaged conditions that come on as we age. So Agnes is certainly not prescriptive. And Caroline, your point about, was there a need to produce this device? I don't really know. Was there a need in the world to have an Agnes? There is now, so we're lucky to have her. But she has certainly allowed us to really surpass, I think, any of the original intentions that we could have had with her as a device. So not only has she been a really unique research tool, she has also become, frankly, probably the most famous face of the AgeLab at this point. She's appeared in many different documentaries and other kinds of, other types of media. So we've been so thankful to have had that brainstorming spark and to be able to continue the work that we get to do with her these days.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joe Kaplan, and I have been volunteering with Mittler Senior Technology since October 2019. I am a high school junior at the Ramaz Upper School in Manhattan. Eric, this question is for you. Was this experiment or intervention successful? How did the participants do, and where are they now?
Well, I think it's apt to call it an intervention. Mr. Fleischer, and also building onto your comment, I think that each family and each pair had, going into this, a different perspective on aging and a different approach to aging. Some were more concerned with their health already and aging with greater, exercising more, or perhaps they were ensuring that they had support systems in place, or focus more or less on their medical care and thinking forward, and some less. And so in a sense, this aging boot camp that we put together was a non-scientific, an intervention. And because aging is sort of this amorphous thing that we approach, we take life as it comes, I think to expect everybody to have made a change in every part of their life and prepared for aging with a total overhaul would be a lot to expect. But each family took something different, and each person within each pair took something different. For example, Dre, since we caught up with them, and you can look on our website, fastforwardmovie.com, and we caught up with everybody to see where they are now and what changes they've made. Dre has put together, he immediately got together all of his paperwork, and he put together a living will and got his financial paperwork in order, having recently been married. And meanwhile, Abe and Leo now use music therapy with Abe's mother, Carmen, on a regular basis. And it's really beautiful because they've found a new way to connect and a way to explore memories and experiences that they hadn't even ever, perhaps at any point in their lives together with Carmen. So I think everybody took something different. Susan now is exercising regularly. She's reached a more ideal body weight, and she's filled with a different passion for self-care as she goes forward with her life. So it was really interesting to see what everybody chose to take from their experience.
Thank you, Eric. So now I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Khan, who has a question. I'm going to spotlight him and make sure, Mr. Khan, that you address who you want to answer the question.
I can ask the question of anybody, or anyone can answer the question. I'm concerned or curious. It was a wonderful presentation, and the movie I thought was extraordinary. I'm wondering, where's your funding coming from? Is it strictly from the university? Is it private? To what extent are governments involved? And this is an ongoing project, and this is going to, could in some point, perhaps even revolutionize the whole caring of aging and caring of the aging. So to what extent are you getting support, and how far is this project going, and how many communities are you reaching? And is it only small communities? Or I know there was one from Philly, but I was wondering how many cities and just how this thing is being developed, because it seems like an incredibly exciting venture.
Thanks. I can tell you the project is both a film and, as you said, a community impact project. We are funded in part by the John A. Hartford Foundation, as well as the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation. Funded the project, the film, and its outreach. And both concerned with improving care for older adults in America, and basically helping everybody age better together. And we right now have a screenings tour with over 300 screenings around the country, and we're really spreading out wide and trying to reach as many groups as we can, both within the aging community and the care communities, as well as outside of them in business and across lots of many different segments, because as you saw in the film, we packed a lot in there, a lot of perspectives, a lot of approaches. So our goal is to continue to have screenings like this around the country, as well as, because the film sort of addresses topics that aren't changing on a daily basis, we're open for many rebroadcasts on PBS as well.
Thank you, Eric. We're now going to have Julie ask the next question to Taylor, and then we are going to take Shari's question.
Okay, so this question's for Taylor. What are the future plans for the MIT AgeLab and Agnes? What's the next step in your work? What is the goal in 21 and beyond? And how can our program and our seniors contribute to curing social isolation?
You know, just a few questions, Julia. No big deal. Okay, here's the short story, right? Like, the immediate goal for me is to get back into the office so that I can see Agnes again. I think we are going to be looking a lot, over the next year or so, at Agnes in a couple different ways. So one way is to think about continuing to advance our research with her as a tool. So we are doing some planning for a validation study in validating the use of the tool as representative of some sort of aging related or ability related experience, alongside with one of our other research tools that we have at the AgeLab, called our 85+ Lifestyle Leaders Panel. So I coordinate this panel as well. These are folks who participate in social science research who are all over the ages of 85 and older. So we're interested in sort of creating some sort of research study where we can validate Agnes as a tool alongside the actual, lived experiences of older adults themselves. We've done a little bit of that work in the past, but we're looking to do more of it and to expand a little bit. And then the other thing I'm really excited and have been thinking a lot about as well as it relates to Agnes, is really advancing, the public narrative around Agnes through opportunities like these. So she is both, an excellent tool for understanding how people can sometimes interact in a world that simply isn't always made for us when we get older. And I think you saw some of that in the film, but I think additional to that, some of that narrative that we're hoping to expand upon and work is this idea of using a more intersectional lens to understand how folks with other identity characteristics, thinking about race, socioeconomic status, things like that, how those other identity characteristics are also going to affect how people experience aging and their future selves. So I'm thinking a lot about those kind of areas of our work. And then to your second question about social isolation, this is partially the reason probably why I'm here with you this afternoon. One of my other big areas of interest at the AgeLab is around multi-generational and intergenerational engagement, and thinking about how we can bring younger and older generations together in sort of mutually beneficial conversations and interactions. So obviously we're going to have a lot of work ahead of us to do after this pandemic. We need, to rebuild our weak ties, as well as our, hopefully stronger ties have been maintained as well during this time, but our weak ties with our communities, and figure out how we can really cultivate multi-generational relationships after, we have a little bit more of a positive future after folks have been, more vaccinated and things like that.
Thank you, Taylor. All right, we're going to have now Shari ask her question, and make sure you address who you would like to answer it.
Well, actually, it's more of a comment. Just it's a great presentation. Thank you, everybody. Also, when you're single and you don't have children, or your family is not local, it's a completely different experience. And I just wanted to note that. Because I don't have children, my family is not local, and how I'm preparing as I'm aging is much different than somebody that has children or nieces and nephews close enough to be there to care for them. So a comment on that. And also one thing that I did, although I'm always not so organized, every year when I do my taxes, I look at my will. I started to do that because some of those people are no longer with us. And even though they were younger, they passed early. So how we prepare for our lives is different somewhat when you're single and or you don't have family close.
Thank you, Shari.
If I might, I just want to say something in response. And one of the things that Fast-Foward does is it talks about it begins to delve into complex perspectives on a complex topic, but there are so many stories, as Taylor was talking about as well, what they're looking to explore as they move forward. There's so many stories to tell. This was a series of parent-child pairs, and I would love to see a second and third piece of Fast-Foward with people, who are set up in completely different ways. One being solo agers, or there's so many backgrounds to explore. And the other thing that I want to mention is that nextavenue.org, who's our partner for this project, in association with Twin Cities Public Television, who's the presenting station for Fast-Foward, has developed a series of email courses, and one of them is about finding your support network and figuring out, as you said, Shari, it's a completely different equation when you're not just looking to children or a significant other, or finding a different kind of support network and figuring out who those people are. And so that is something that's on our mind, and it is also a story that I'd like to explore because, as I said, as we all know, it's such a complex subject area, and there's so many ways to explore. So thank you for that comment.
Thank you, Shari. I'm now going to have Caroline ask the next question, and this question can be addressed to either Taylor or Eric, or even both.
Okay, so what I'm wondering about is resistance. So what would you do with a senior that doesn't want to comply with aging, or doesn't want to fill out their wills?
Well, one thing I'd like to say is that we caught up with Roger and Dre, who you've all just seen in the film. Usually, so I know this is all very fresh. You may not recall exactly because there are so many characters in the film, but the father and son pair in Boise, Idaho, and they are doing well. But Roger, even in our catch-up interview, was not interested in discussing the topic of putting together his living will or any documents that he would be wise to do so. And the Conversation Project, who's featured in the film, has a lot of great tools to approach people in different ways. Dre, you hear him in the film saying, well, I'm going to do my own. And he did go ahead and do his own. That's one of their strategies for children to talk to their parents about it. And sometimes it takes a peer-to-peer interaction, which can be helpful as well. I've heard some people say, you know, I talked to my parent about this ad infinitum, someone who was working in the caregiving field, and their parents said, no, I'm not willing to do this. But then their peer, someone in their age group reached out to them and talked to them about it and managed to convince them to do so. So I think there are a variety of strategies. I think the Conversation Project is a great resource for helping to break through that barrier with some people.
Taylor, do you want to add something?
Oh, sorry, I thought I was unmuted. No, I think Michael Eric's highlighted a number of really excellent resources. I would just love to challenge the idea of like complying. Like, why do we need to comply with aging? What does that even mean, right? So, you know, you can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do, right? But how can we reframe some of the conversations, provide folks with resources when they need them, and the like, in order to help move the needle in another, you know, in a different way, kind of like a new metric.
Thank you. And then I think maybe one more question, which a few seniors have actually put into the chat, is now watching this movie and seeing the experience that these seniors went through. How could they engage in future studies or videos on aging, or how could they get involved as seniors in helping others, or actually they themselves helping with this? How could the seniors in this class you know, help with this process of aging? How could they fit into the shoes, either through MIT or through the connections that Fast-Foward has?
I'm happy to just speak briefly on some of the things that we have going on at the MIT AgeLab. Obviously, the pandemic has been a blessing in that sense, and that so much of our research has now been taken online. Meaning that there are, you know, there's a much larger breadth of opportunities available for folks. So I think I put our website in the chat. We have several opportunities for research related participation, if that's something you're interested in, from our 85 plus lifestyle leaders panel. So if you're over the age of 85, would love to meet you and would love to hear from you. To our caregiver panel, so for folks who identify as family caregivers, as well as a general database that we sort of retain in general for folks of all ages, because we're very interested in everyone, which is very confusing when you hear the name AgeLab, but those are just a couple ways to get involved with us.
Well, I'd like to say, first and foremost, there's a survey associated with the film, which I believe Jordan has shared with you, and if not, we'll be sharing with you soon. And we would love to hear, it's not just a survey with question and answer, we'd really love to hear your thoughts and reactions to the film and to the project. And I would also invite you to look at fastforwardmovie.com, because what we're trying to do is take a different approach to talking and thinking about aging, and one that is fun and engaging, and try and build bridges across generations and bring everybody together around this. And I'm hoping that we'll have further iterations of the film, as well as little pieces on different topics. So please share with us your thoughts. Please get in touch with us, and please explore these resources and share them with your families and others. And again, we really do value your thoughts and feedback on the film, so that we can be even broader and more in depth in our thinking as we move forward with this project.
Thank you, Eric. So yeah, like Eric said, after the class today, I'll be sending out to everyone through our communications list, both information from MIT and from Fast-Foward on how you could connect, and also the small survey from Fast-Foward on after you watch the movie, kind of how the experience was, how, you know, what your thoughts are about the movie. I think we're almost out of time for today. I want to just thank both Taylor and Eric for taking the time, to come here and address these questions. This was a really amazing program, and I hope everyone here benefited from both the screening as well as the post-panel discussion. Just a few housekeeping notes. Like I said, I'll be sending out later today some reminders about kind of future updates. I also recorded today's panel discussion, so if anyone wants to kind of rewatch it, I'll also send that out to you as well as the links from Fast-Foward and MIT. There will be no Q&A session tomorrow night because we didn't have a formal class today. Our next class, and is actually our final class of the spring semester, will be next Sunday at 11:30 a.m. I hope you're all there. We have an exciting Jeopardy game planned to kind of review all the concepts that we've learned this semester so far. So make sure that you're all there to wrap up the semester together. Once again, thank you both, Eric and Taylor, and thank you everyone for coming. I hope you all enjoyed the movie and the discussion as much as I did. I hope you have a great week, and I hope to see you all again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, everyone. Good to see you.